All right. We are live. Mario Munguia here in Fighting FX. First and foremost, I want to thank everybody who joined us this past weekend for UFC 250 and the Bam Rodriguez fight, as well as the Spurs Knicks game. Dude, no joke. We did 12 hours this weekend. No. 3 6. We did not. We did a little over 10 is actually what we did. But yeah, it was crazy. Um, Matt got some subs. I got some subs. So, it was a W all around. That's for sure. But we are covering Raw tonight, as we do every Monday for fightsatw.com, fightsatw.com, where you can go and get all of the latest combat sports news, betting takes, all of that from fightsatw.com. Shout out to Abe Gonzalez, who is preparing a whole list of content as we gear up for the next big combat sports fight, which obviously is going to be Xander Zayas and Boots Ennis. But yeah, we're gonna use the next hour 15 to chop up the UFC and the MMA and all that, while simultaneously trying to cover the trying to finish this all before we cover Raw, right? Because I want to cover Raw extensively. Obafemi and Dom Mysterio, my bad. Dom Mysterio, Dirty Dom, and Obafemi are fighting in the semifinals tonight. The winner will go on to Night of Champions and the King of the Ring finals to compete for the opportunity to win the King of the Ring crown, as well as a shot against the champion at SummerSlam. And that's the other thing, is they have yet to tell us definitively that it's your brand's champion or it's your choice of brands, like the way the Royal Rumble used to work. And I think they're doing that because they don't know what the fuck they're gonna do. Shout out to Bruce Gas in the building, champ. Bruce, did you see the UFC 250? I wonder what you thought about it. Just because I know you're an old school boxing guy. MMA is not really something that appeals to you. You are an incredibly knowledgeable person when it comes to history and politics. And I look at you, or I listen to you, I take in your content, and I see you as like I don't want to say respectable American. Not that you're not a respectable American, but that's not what I'm trying to say. Um, Smart American, a rational American. I don't know what to say. All I know is that I don't see you and think like, oh, you're obliged by a party or a political outfit. That said, that was obviously what everybody else was doing this weekend, right? It was a crazy weekend, dude. I mean, just so nuts. The amount of people that were interested in fights this weekend that they normally aren't. It was out of control. It was absolutely out of control. So many grifters this weekend. And look, I don't care, right? Like, obviously, the more people that watch these fights and the more people that like tune into combat sports, the more people likely to find my channel, right? And the more people that make it bigger and feel bigger. And that's great. But it's like, dude, Taylor Swift should not be at a Knicks game. I'm sorry. I don't care. Here's the thing. If you want to go to a Knicks game, go to a fucking like regular season Knicks game, right? You took a chair from a hardcore Knicks fan that should have been in attendance. And why? Because you just want to be like part of the party, right? Or you just wanted super clout, right? And that brings us to one of the other topics we're going to talk about tonight. Clout. Clout that does not look like Bam Rodriguez at all. I did this with AI. Look at the way they made Bam Rodriguez look like him and Dom Mysterio had a kid, and then Edwin Rodriguez came in and then had sex with him, and they had this baby right here. That's crazy. He looks nothing like Bam, but that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. We don't care. We don't care. So yeah, anyway, we're going to talk first about the Freedom 250 show. One of the first things I want to talk about is the political divide, right? And this is really bothering me. I'm not going to lie, because for the last like 8 years, right? Again, I have to preface, I'm not part of any political party anymore. I don't subscribe to any one side being the right side versus the wrong side. I know what Republican means. I know what conservative values are. I know what Democratic and liberal values are. And by the way, America works off of both, right? So, that's that. That said, though, so many people protecting this idea of what the UFC 250 and the Freedom 250 was supposed to represent, right? Like, I'm okay with, not okay, but I'm gonna watch the UFC, right? Whether it's at the White House or whether it's in Egypt or whether it's at Epstein's Island, I'm gonna watch it, right? Either they come to White House or they bring Epstein's Island to the White House. Either way, I'm gonna watch it. I'm a fan of combat sports. That said, I'm not stupid enough, or I'm not uneducated enough, or I don't lack as much knowledge to know that there was some fucked up shit that went down and it was going to happen. Listen, I had Kenny Florian on this show and I asked him straight up, do you think the UFC White House is a good idea? He loved it. He said it was. And I brought him my points. He didn't have anything really to offer as far as a counter to those points. And I took that as he agreed with them. Joe Rogan said something 4 weeks ago that I said 4 months ago. And I'm not trying to I said this, not at all. What I meant more is that it was clear to see, right? I don't mean, I should have gotten the credit for it. What I mean is Joe Rogan is just a fucking dude. Don't get me wrong. He has a lot of access, a lot of knowledge from other people and a lot of sources, and he's plugged into the MMA pipeline. But when it comes to combat sports, he doesn't know dick all. He really doesn't. He knows a shit ton about MMA, right? He knows a lot about jiu-jitsu. He could teach you, or at least explain to you, how to throw one of the hardest fucking non-professional athlete kicks in the world. But that's about the limit of his knowledge. And yet people take all this stuff to be factual or truth or whatever. And the truth of the matter was this, right? I did not like the White House fight. I never liked the White House fight. Not because of not just because of the politics, right? Politics are a big part of it, right? I don't want to watch the NBA or the NFL or the MLB and have politics constantly draining me, constantly on me. That's this MMA shit. This is the UFC. They do that shit, right? I see people all the time on social media, right? People I respect that are talking shit, or I mean, in the boxing game, I respect. I respect their boxing knowledge, and they're fucking morons. Literally, they're morons. They cry, but look at Dart. He's being accosted because he went to Trump, blah, blah, blah. And it's shut the fuck up. You're the same people that were talking shit about trans people in sports, and you're the same people that were talking shit about a black dude being able to kneel at the NFL. You don't get to pick who and what and when can be political, right? So you show yourself when you talk shit about one side, but then make excuses for the other. Y'all are the fucking. Oh, I was about to say the word. I was about to say it. I didn't say it yet. I said yet because I'm probably gonna say it. I'm not that dude who's gonna be I want to fucking. You're a MAGA guy. I'm not gonna talk to you. I'm not gonna. No, I'll talk to you. You're probably retarded, but I'm gonna talk to you. Why wouldn't I talk to you? Right? Why wouldn't I? Right? I at the end of the day, you couldn't separate the politics from this event. Dana White sounded like a fucking moron out here. I went to the left wing and the right wing and the middle. No, you didn't. Shut the fuck up. No, you didn't. You tried to paint yourself as a liberal, ridiculous shit. You see what I'm saying? That's stupid. I don't want to do that. I don't want to have to listen to your low IQ excuses as to why this isn't a political. You're in the fucking White House, you fucking moron. It doesn't get more political than that. Listen, again, I want to make sure that this conversation is nuanced, right? I'm not here to shit on everything that happened on Sunday. Not at all. In fact, that was one of the best fight cards that I've seen in a very, very long time. I think when you look at the totality of what happened in the cage, not only was it a success because it could have been way worse with the rain, the lightning, the bugs, all of those outside elements were kept in check to a degree. That said, do we know what Ilya Topuria and Justin Gaethje looks like? Do the results duplicate in an inside arena? I don't know, and I'm not saying they do or don't. All I'm saying is it's a question. It's a question. It's a question because Dana White himself said he hates the outside events. He hates Saudi Arabia shows. He hated the what was it? Not the Saudi show. What was it? Abu Dhabi. He hated the Abu Dhabi show, and he was never going to do it outside again. And then you have morons who are MMA amateurs, they fight in outside doors all the time. Yeah, in fucking amateurs, you fucking morons. God damn, you're so stupid. So amateurs fight outside, so then then it's not a problem for the pros to do it. Hey, by the way, did you know baseball is played sometimes with a 300 to center field, right? In the majors, it's at least 4, if not more, right? So if they play in a center field, if they play in a small center field, small home runs, right? Short field, right? Like a middle school fucking field, like a pony league field. That because they played when they were amateurs at that size of a field, it's okay to do it again. Like, it's just so fucking moronic the way that everybody's trying to like stand on their toes to like show us they're morons. Like you're gonna make all these excuses for the UFC and for Dana White and for Trump, but why? Why can't an event be like every other event that doesn't involve politics? In that there were some things that were good, there were some things that were bad. Now I'll admit this was a very different situation because there were some things that were good, there were some things that were bad, and then there were some things that were fucking atrocious. There were, in fact, 2 or 3 things on this card that I think make it fucking gross, make it probably a big scam, and make it what's the other word I could use? Listen, we're gonna go down the list. Fuck it. We're gonna go down the list. But listen, before we get into the actual fights, which I do want to talk about, I want to bring this little topic up real quick. Okay. So this was taken last night. Fuck. No. Wait, where was I going? Okay. So this little photo was taken last night. With Roman Reigns and Triple H. I've been arguing with people all day and all night from last night about what this says about Roman Reigns. And really the conversation is, what does this say about anyone that attended the UFC fight last night? Now, let me bring up the Crawford one. Bro, I'm sorry. Wade Plemons, I don't want to say that he's dumb as hell. I don't want to say that because I'm pretty sure he's not, and I'm pretty sure he just says things to get clicks and stuff. Listen, I invited him on the show twice. He agreed once and didn't show up. So I'm not going to like sit on that, right? Like everybody's like, oh, Wade ducked the fade. No, I'm not saying Wade ducked the fade. Maybe he did. Maybe he did, right? I can't know what punches he was gonna pull or throw. All I know is that I was very ready to have him on to host him. And I think it's better off we didn't, because it would have been a shit show. Wade has been shilling for MMA all day, right? And this is the thing as well. It's like people that covered MMA and then came into wrestling or boxing, you can clearly tell they fucking hate on everything else but MMA, right? And obviously he's critical of things in MMA. I'm just saying, like, anytime there's a chance that you can take a stance between one or the other, guys like Wade Plemons are taking the MMA route. And you could tell by some of the stupid shit he's been posting. So this is in line to what he's been saying. And again, this is all about the Bud stuff and whether or not he should have been there last night, whatever. We'll get into that. But he said, this is Wade. He said, never forget, Bud was so scared of fighting an MMA fighter outside of boxing that he said he'd use a gun on them. And he's not the only boxer to say it. Like, this is real. This is real. He really put this 4 hours ago. This is his actual. This is it right here. Look, the zone right there. This is him. This is Wade Plemons. This is literally what he's choosing to put out there into the world. He wants to take. Listen, this is a MAGA guy, right? He wants to take your words literal and then like not take them literal when he wants to, right? Bud is such a pussy that he's scared to fight an MMA fighter. So Wade must be a fucking fat pussy because I'm going to challenge him to golf, tennis, and pickleball. And now he's not going to show up. What a pussy he is. Like, that's so great. You want to know how good Terrence Crawford is and how good boxing holds up by having him fight in a sport that measures like at least a dozen other martial arts? I don't understand. And it's like, Wade, why does this hurt your feelings? I don't get it. This is all just clout chasing. Why does this hurt your feelings? I'm not sure. It's like you're like, oh, Terrence Crawford can wrestle a little. Damn, dog, I'm sorry, but you sound like you don't even fucking cover this sport. It sounds like you fucking know nothing about it. To suggest that because a boxer, not just a boxer, but possibly the greatest boxer of this era, has some wrestling skill and has owned a bunch of other boxers, that somehow that gives credence to him being able to compete in MMA. Like, you sound so desperate to get Bud fucking beat. And then on the other side, I think, and I'm not saying this in like any way that's a fact or anything like that, and I have nothing to pull out of thin air, right? I'm just telling you what I've seen over the last several years. It seems like the conversation of Bud and like how good he is and who he could beat has exposed Wade to his audience as like a non-boxing guy. Again, I'm not saying that, right? I watch Wade stuff when it comes to MMA. Can't watch anything else. Can't watch anything else. It feels like his takes are based off of AI's algorithm of what would piss people off the most. It really does. And it's like, you can't be that controversial. Stop it. Stop it. No, you're just either trolling for the clicks or you're like trying to like or it's a dishonest approach to I guess. Hold on, I think we're gonna get somebody to pop on. Okay, so anyway, yeah, I wanted to show that because it was dumb as hell. But I want to get back to this conversation because this is a real conversation, right? Like Wade can go and try to like troll Bud and like, make these like super low IQ comments about challenging between boxing and MMA. And that's the other thing. It's like, tell me you don't watch any other sports without telling me you don't watch any other sports, Wade. Please. Like, what would you say? Like, oh, Mike Trout thinks he has a really good 3, so he needs to go to basketball to prove how good of a baseball player he is? Like, what the fuck are we talking about, dude? Like, if you haven't learned by now that there is little to zero comparability between boxing and MMA at the professional level, I'm sorry, you don't deserve the job you have. I'm sorry. You don't deserve it. If you don't understand, you're talking about basketball and volleyball. And just because you see a court, just because you see a net, just because you see a ball, just because you see athletes in shorts, doesn't mean it's the same fucking sport. And what is the obsession with trying to bring boxers out of their sport and into MMA? Okay, for all you dipshits that still argue that point, let me break it down to you. At the end of the day, the UFC is the monopoly, and they have a governor on how much they can get paid versus an event, right? McGregor didn't happen in the UFC. Why not? Because they are not set up to have that fight in the UFC. No way they were ever set up to have that kind of fight in the UFC. Boxing's the only place where these fights can happen. They're the only places where these mixed fights can happen, unless you want to be James Toney and go out and embarrass yourself for a few fucking bucks and nothing else, right? Like I'm just astonished that we're in 2026 and we're still having this boxing versus MMA convo, and the idea that combat sports hasn't been bastardized, right, by having MMA guys come over, right? You can argue that the McGregor Mayweather fight launched what would become known as influencer boxing or YouTube boxing or whatever the fuck you want to call it. You can make that argument that those two guys gave a blueprint to the rest of the world, right? And it's true. It's true. And again, guys like Wade don't understand this because they might have been in the gym for a long time, right? They may have been covering MMA for a long time, but they haven't been covering combat sports as a whole. And the way that I know that, hold on. Yo, you here? I'm coming out. Yo, y'all give me 1 second. I'll be right there. All right, guys. Sorry about that. All right. Let me do something here. Yo, and you know the funniest people that are talking shit about Roman are like the biggest bitches. Listen to me. Every person that has said something negative about Roman online, like you could go and look at the comments. I swear to God, go find a comment that you could see like, oh, this guy's clearly a Roman fan and his feelings have clearly been hurt. You see that they literally like block everyone. They block everyone. They fucking do whatever they can to talk shit and then like blow you off, right? It's fucking crazy when you think about it, but um All right, my bad. Okay, guys, sorry. So I was just sending the link out. By the way, I'm gonna drop the link. I wasn't going to, but or at least not this early. But I'm probably gonna log off and come back on Twitch and YouTube for Raw. So got like another hour left before that. But yeah, here's the link. Anybody want to jump on? Go ahead. Wait, where is it? Okay, so anyway, where were we? Okay, so the Roman Reigns stuff. Actually, I was talking about the Wade stuff. Damn it, I shouldn't have gone back and forth like that. My bad. Anyway, well, okay, let's let me see. Okay, the Wade stuff. So Bud made a comment. Let me see if I can find it real quick. He made a comment after the fights last night. So okay, so this is it. So last night, Terrence Crawford, after Ilya Topuria was defeated, said, "This is the guy that said he would knock me out and whoop me and Shakur at the same time." And then 3 laughing emojis. Now, I want to make this very clear. This is not, I don't think he ever did say that like that. Let me make sure. I think he was like making a reference. Either that or it was like a joke, right? Oh no, he did say that. Oh yeah, he did say that. An idiot. He called the boxer an idiot. Okay, so this goes back. I don't want to. Who's this? Ready to fight? I don't know them. I'm not gonna fucking. I'm just gonna use their shit. I know that's fucked up. Listen. So this is the comment, right? And this is after Terrence Crawford said he basically didn't know who Ilya Topuria was. Now I want to make this also very clear. Nobody knows who Ilya Topuria is, right? Like nobody knows who Arman is, right? Like we know this, don't we? Or do y'all think that people that American fans, casuals, right? Do you think that these are household names? Like, do you think Ilya Topuria is like well known in the American sports community? Like, let me ask you this: if you were to go to like a NFL game or like a basketball game, right, and you were to like ask everyone there who is Ilya Topuria and who is Terrence Crawford, I'd be willing to bet it's like 4-1 of the people that would know Crawford versus Ilya Topuria. I mean, I could be wrong. That's obviously just a guess, but I've been doing this long enough to tell you that like people that call themselves like casual fans of a combat sport, they're usually not even really casual fans, right? Like the real casual fans that, are very casual as hell, right? And don't know what they're talking about. They represent the vast majority of the sport, right? So you have like 3 groups. You have the hardcores, right? Like us here in this community. And I'm not saying like, oh, we're so smart, but truthfully, I can tell you that boxing fans know their sport better than almost anyone else knows their sport. Like if you go and get hardcores in football, basketball, MLB, and you compare them to boxing, bro, it's not even fun. Listen to me. We are the biggest virgins out here. Other than wrestling virgins, boxing virgins are the top virgins. We are the alpha virgins, right? And I'm the super king virgin alpha because I watch them all at a mark ass virgin level, right? So like I can tell you like we know our sport way better. Like I remember I did this thing, it was fuck. I think it was Madden was coming out in like 2018 maybe. It was before I went back to the Boxing Boys, so it was definitely like it was either 2017 or 2018. And they had asked me to do a panel, and the conversation came up about, man, there should be an NCAA game because there hadn't been one in a while at that point. And we started talking about that, and then they were saying how they can't do an NCAA game because the fans, the real hardcores of NCAA football, know way too much. Like, they understand their teams and their recruits and their schemes far better than NFL fans do their teams, right? And I believe that. I know that to be true. I mean, I went to college. I know fucking guys that were crazy into the football, into their college football team, and they don't give a shit about what's happening in the NFL. They watch football just to watch, but they're fans of these college teams, right? And so we had this conversation, like, who's smarter, like, who knows their sport better. Maybe football fans and NCAA do, but I'm telling you right now, I would rock out with any boxing fan knowing more about their sport. And so it's like, for Ilya to get mad that Bud doesn't know who he is, like, yeah, nobody knows who the fuck you are. I'm sorry. Like, this is the idea. This is when Alex said a comment the other day that I really that stuck with me. He said, everybody calls MMA the new kids on the block all the time. How long do they have to be around before they're no longer new? That's a bad way of looking at that, right? Because that assumes that you're always in a position to have acquired knowledge that experience doesn't give you, right? So, like, you could be a CEO for 10 years of Coca-Cola, and then something crazy could happen in year 11 that just completely, like, totally sideswipes you. So it's like, you don't know until you fucking know, right? And the UFC is in still a infancy compared to all the other sports. And that can be you could make that argument based on the data that suggests most of the guys that get high profiled in MMA is at a point where they've already, like, hit their peak or past their prime. And you can make the argument that's the way it is in boxing now, but it wasn't that way in boxing at all the time, right? So it's like, you want to talk about what the UFC's done in their first 20, 25 years of existence, whatever, versus, like, what did boxing do in their first 25 years, right? So you're not ever going to be one of these other sports until you make it to that level, and yet you can't get to that level until you've spent enough time in the sport. So it's like, I don't know. Anyway, he said, you say you're a fan of MMA. This is Ilya Tapora talking to the what was it? Who did he tell this to? I don't even remember. Okay. He said, you say you're an MMA fan, but you don't know who I am. Interesting. The first time we met, you told me, good luck this week with your fight. Your memory is failing you. And soon your chin will too. I represent the entire MMA community. Pound for pound, number one in real fights versus pound for pound in boxing. You're a real idiot, said Taporia. Yo, he got his feelings hurt bad, bro. He was a big Bud fan. You could tell. You could tell he was a big Bud fan, because you could tell when somebody's a big fan of yours when they get their feelings hurt because you don't know who they are, right? And, like, there's this thing, if you don't know, on streaming, where people pretend not to know who you are, or, like, they're like, oh, nice to meet you, or they'll say something like that knowing you've met before, and it's just to little bro you. So it's like, people think it's a disrespectful thing, and that's the problem with a guy like Ilya Tabora. Being in the UFC regulates you to a certain online experience, right? But that online experience can be a failed one. And so this idea that somebody doesn't know who you are and that's disrespectful to you is a low IQ, stupid, prideful, moron way of thinking, right? And look what happened. Now Ilya got fucked for talking all this shit, right? All this shit. Now I'm going to say, though, and we'll get to this, he did box well. Man, some of them body shots, bro. And we're going to show them here in just a bit. I think people should leave Bud alone. Wait. Meanwhile, WBC lightweight championship. Oh, my bad. In other words, I'm not saying he would definitely win, but I wouldn't be surprised if he win, because Bud looks bigger than that guy. He's got longer arms. Oh, they were talking about in MMA. So anyway, this was what spurred the conversation. Oh shit, I didn't even share that shit. I was like, what the fuck? That spurred this comment right here. Where Crawford says, this is the guy that said he would knock me out and whoop me and Shakur at the same time. Yo, Ray Jackson is crazy, dude. He says, can't no longer respect or support you, champ. You're a Trump supporter. This is the dude that be posting wild ass fucking ass eating videos. Ray, I love Ray, right? Me and him are I mean, I'm saying we're boys. He's not my friend, but we've known each other online for a really long time. I think he's funny. Like, a lot of people take him too serious, right? Like, I never hated Ray Jackson because I never went to Ray Jackson for my fucking boxing takes. And you're a moron if that's what you were doing, right? I go to Ray Jack when I want to laugh at something dumb, right? Or I want to laugh at something, somebody getting themselves or saying something stupid. Like, it's funny, right? But it's not that serious. But it's crazy to be taking like moral grounds when you're the dude who literally posts porn on X. Like, kids could see that. And you're over here like, I don't know about you. You're a Trump supporter. Listen, is Trump one of the worst presidents, if not the worst president in United States history? Sure, absolutely, 100%, right? But don't give him so much power. Don't give him so much power that everything he touches is now MAGA. No, it's not. No, it's fucking not. You know what MAGA is? Fucking stupid. You know what MAGA is? Racist a lot of times. You know what MAGA is? Fucking sexist. You know what MAGA is? Money hungry, right? Why else do you take all this money from Israel and literally have nothing to say when you say why back them up? Listen, I'm gonna make this point as crystal fucking clear as I can. This is the administration, the White House, Donald Trump, RFK, all these fucking guys like Elon Musk that were freedom of speech warriors. Do y'all remember that? Remember how the whole election was based on, do you want to vote for the people that love freedom, like MAGA, or do you want to vote for the oppressors in Harris and the Biden administration, even though Biden wasn't running anymore and they kept bringing up Biden every time. And that's how you know they're morons, right? That's how you know MAGA's morons. Listen, I'm not saying Republicans are stupid, and I'm not saying conservatism is a inherently flawed way of thinking or policy making. What I'm saying is that Donald Trump hijacked the right-wing American side of politics, so much so that it's affected the right wing in other countries like Brazil. And he has owned and enveloped everything that has to do with the right wing. I was a Republican at 18 years old. I registered as a Republican. I voted for Bush twice, technically once, but in reality twice. I'll explain that one day when I figure out how illegal what I did was or wasn't. But the point I'm making is that I don't see those values in the current administration with MAGA and Trump, right? So, like, if you want to talk shit about their failed immigration policies, if you want to talk shit about how immigration wasn't even a problem, because if it was, they would have done something about it when Biden had a Republican write up a bill that had both sides of the aisle liking it, enjoying it, and then Trump hit the phone, called up the MAGA dipshits, and was like, "Don't vote for this, otherwise I'm not going to win the election because I got to run off of this platform," right? So, like, you know what's a real problem? Like, COVID was a real problem, right? And you know that because Trump had to do something, even though he didn't want to, even though his base didn't want him to, he had to do something. Now, of course, Biden came in and did something a lot more, restrictive, but he did something. And you know that it was a problem because he had to act, right? He said Iran was about to get a missile. That's bullshit, right? We know that. We know that's a lie now. And here's the thing. If you don't know that's a lie, you got some more information to go out and dig in. There's already like 2 documentaries that, both the right and left are like, yo, that's the doc. All of them saying that land wasn't even close to that shit. By the way, you want to talk about 2018 and Donald Trump pulling out of the IDG, whatever the fuck it was, the first Iran deal that Obama had, right? Because guess what? And again, this is the point. This is a point nobody else wants to talk about. And if you're MAGA, you're fucking retarded and you don't know about this stuff. You don't know because you live inside your own echo chamber, right? We gave them dudes $1 billion of their own fucking money. That's what Obama did. That was their money. We just gave it back to them. That's literally what happened. We've already committed to billions to restructure that, to rebuild Iran. That's what our peace agreement it did. It gave all of our money. You know, the money that Republicans keep saying we can't use on y'all's healthcare? Like, how many of y'all right now have a grandpa that's sick, or like a mother that has cancer, or a child that has some sort of like blood disease or something? And God forbid any of that stuff's going on in y'all's lives. But it's real talk, though. This is real shit right here, right? I'm an actual fucking American who lives in fucking America. And guess what? I have fucking real friends, not online friends that pretend to be fucking something that they're not. Not fucking people with no AVIs on fucking online and shit. Not people like Ray Jackson who got the same fucking picture up because they know they gained 30, 40, 50, 60 pounds during the fucking... No, I'm just playing with you, Ray. But the point I'm trying to make is that I refuse to give the dumbest kids in school who grew up, have terrible egos, terrible pride, super low IQ understanding of America and the world and how government works. These people failed all their fucking classes. There's no fucking valedictorians in MAGA. There's no salutatorians. Oh, yeah, maybe from the people that go to the fucking all-white schools in rural Kentucky. Sure, you're the valedictorian, whatever you want to fucking say, champ. But all I'm trying to point out here is that you can't give MAGA things that are cool just because they're dipshits, right? Like, I love MMA. I love MMA. I'm not gonna lie, UFC is kind of gay sometimes, and I don't mean that as a slur. I mean like literally, like they want to like kiss dudes. Which again, we here at Infight and FX, we are allies of the trans community. We are allies of the LGBTQ and the gay community because we are Americans. At the end of the day, no one's gonna tell me how long I can grow my hair out. No one's going to tell me what name I could fucking use because I'm a fucking American. And if you're trying to tell people, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, bro, eat a dick. How about that? How about you chop your own dick off and then fucking eat it? How about that? I'm not mad at any of this stuff. It just makes me upset that so many people are willing to just give that night to MAGA. No, they don't get to be patriotic. They don't get to be the patriotic ones because they're the least patriotic fucks in the world. They wanted to vote for the guy that tried to steal the election and then try to convince them that someone else was stealing the election. Yo, this is crazy shit. The dumbest fucking people in the world. Again, I'm not calling Republicans dumb. Cowards, maybe, right? Pussies, maybe, right? No backbone, maybe. But I'm not calling them, I'm not saying Republican policies are bad. I'm not saying, I mean, today, yes, but I'm not saying the idea of conservatism is bad. I'm saying it's been hijacked by a dude who raped a 14-year-old. Those are truth statements that add to a potentially factual narrative. Again, I'm not reporting anything because I wasn't there, but what I am saying is based on the evidence that's in the Epstein fucking files, that man's a fucking molester. And again, all of that can be put to the side and I can enjoy a fight. I can, and I did. Shit, that Diego Lopez fight was a war. I loved it, bro. Shit, the two main events. Woo, boy. Yo, is Gone that guy? I think he might be, right? But again, it's like all you want to do is glaze. You want to talk about the fights and how good they were, fine. But with that comes the bullshit, right? And that is the storm that Crawford and Roman Reigns find themselves in at this point. Now, I want to ask you all, is Roman MAGA for showing up to this event? Now, I've had some people reach out over the last hour and over the last like 30 minutes since I've been live, or 50 minutes, whatever. And I'm getting people saying that Roman has made comments about being a Trump supporter in the past, right? I've also seen people saying that he has admitted to being a registered liberal, which is clearly a lie because you don't register as a liberal. Liberalism is a political or social idea, right? It's not a party, right? Nobody joins the liberal party. But I don't know if any of that's true. So I'm not going to speak on that, right? I'm not going to speak on what Roman's political ties may have been or may be today, because I've never heard anything. I've never heard him say anything, and I'd be very surprised if anybody can show me audio of him actually saying things that would divide his fan base, right? And none of this is new, by the way. If you don't know the famous Michael Jordan quote when he said Republicans buy sneakers too, that was in reference to the people wanting Jordan to basically stand up and against some of the conservative policies that were happening at that time. And he basically said, I don't want none of that. I don't want to be political. I don't want in your political game because Republicans buy shoes too. And that was basically saying, like, I'm a salesman. I'm a product, right? I'm not here to discriminate or isolate half of my buying or half of my customer base, right? And by the way, it's not even half. Like, listen, if you don't realize, if like you're still a person that's MAGA and you think like everybody's still rocking with you, I'm sorry, you're a fucking moron, and it's not 2022 anymore. You got to understand that enough Trump has shit the bed and his diaper in the White House enough times that people are off that bandwagon, right? That doesn't mean UFC sucks. That doesn't mean that Dana White is inherently a crook, although it seems that way. It doesn't mean any of that, right? There were no words that I saw yesterday, or there were no signs where I saw the words MAGA anywhere. I don't remember seeing MAGA at all. Now, maybe there were some people with hats or whatever like that, but from the ringside area, I'm having a hard time remembering seeing any sort of MAGA gear or affiliations, right? Fury wore the retarded hat that said Trump for prime minister. And it's like, fine, you could troll like that, right? But you don't really believe that. And since you don't really believe that, that's you just sucking dick, right? Like that's just you sucking dick. Like if I wore an AJ's going to decapitate Fury shirt and then people ask me like, "Oh, do you really think he's going to take his head off?" No, that's a 50-50 fight. Fury could win that fight. That makes me a piece of shit, liar, idiot, moron, right? Grifter. And I'm not saying that Fury is any of those things because he wore a hat. Not at all. He was all those things before he wore the hat. If you haven't seen his show, he's one of the biggest fucking grifters there is, right? This is a guy who's willing to say and call himself anything to sell some shit. That's fine. Again, this is the fight business. But he showed up to the White House, basically told everybody you're fighting Joshua and that the official announcement was going to come. And then literally nothing happened. Literally nothing happened. We waited. Fight went off. Nothing. AJ. And so we waited. And then when do we get it? When do we get the announcement? Nope, this isn't it, champ. But I appreciate you trying to send this to me, though. So yeah, there were people who were speculating whether or not Dana White would be the key promoter for Fury and Joshua, right? I got to tell you guys, this is a stupid conversation, right? And it's a dumb conversation because it shows how insignificant Dana White still feels he is in this sport of boxing. I mean, because if you want to ask who promoted the fight or who's promoting the fight, it's very simple. Eddie and Frank, they've promoted this fight. This fight is ready, right? This is like Dana coming out when he said, "Oh, I'm promoting Canelo and Crawford." No, you're fucking not. You are the you're the face of the card as it relates to the most boring aspects of it, right? Who's promoting. But the person that promoted Canelo and Crawford were Canelo and Crawford, Bomac, Oscar De La Hoya, Eddie, Matchroom. The list of people that made both of those careers and got them to that point is the person that promoted that fight. Now, obviously, this means something different as it relates to who is the main promoter, who's the number one promoter, right? Who's the guy actually going to be on stage when it comes to the pressers, when it comes to the weigh-ins, all that stuff. And that seems like it's going to be Dana White. But man, what a small dick for you to have. If you're Dana, like, I'm sorry, I get why you want to announce this or why you want to have this fight as it relates to Zuffa boxing. I don't get why you're so it's like when you kiss a girl and then like everybody at the party says like she also kissed another guy, but you know it's not true because you were finger blasting her in the closet, and so it's a lie. But it's like your pride and ego can't allow you to have that knowledge without giving it to everyone else. So Dana's not the actual promoter of this fight. The actual promoters are the people that promoted this fight and got it to the point where it is today. If anything, you can argue that Dana's place in it comes at a time where this fight has gone down, right? Nobody wants this fight the way that they wanted this fight several years ago before they both, were exposed by Usyk. Nobody wants the fight the way that they used to want the fight. So if Dana wants to say, well, I'm in charge of promoting this fight after it is no longer, as viable, fine. You can promote that. Let's see what you can do. Let's see if you really can get this thing popping like you say you can. But if you can't, it's still not his fault. It's still not like none of this is on him. This is Frank and Eddie's fight. This is the fight that they've marinated and collaborated together to make for a very, very long time. Okay. Yes, Dana will get the credit of having his name on there, right? He'll get to hobnob with these two fighters. But I'm sorry, it's a lie is what it is. To pretend that Dana White has any fucking power, any influence as it relates to Joshua and Fury. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. If anything, you can make the argument that he's hurt that fight in a lot of different ways with certain comments he's made over the last 5-6 years. I'm not making that point. I'm just saying you could make that point. But again, the bet is shit. The bet is shit. And it is shit with so much room to have made this better. Look, initially this fight was fucked up from the moment that Turkey thought he could just, announce a fight without finalizing it or settling anything, right? This is kind of the argument that I had with Mex and Matt the other last week as it relates to Shakur and Haney, right? Everybody wants to talk about this 144 weight that Shakur randomly agreed to on Twitter as a basis for actual negotiations. Fuck the weight. If you're not talking money, then you're not talking about a fight. So I don't want to hear none of this bullshit about Shakur ducking. Ducked what? What did he duck? There was no fight. You could say 144 on fucking line. That don't mean shit. Yeah, escrow, bitch. Remember that? Escrow, bitch. And so all I'm saying is that we're in a position to have an announcement, and it actually means something. And guess what? They shut the bed. Didn't work. Didn't happen. Whatever. Now we're in a position, right, where you can simultaneously say that they've actually made the fight worse. Like they've actually denigrated, whatever. They've ruined the fight. Not ruined, but they've made it less appealing. Like everybody was mad for a really long time, right? They were like, oh, Joshua and Fury never fighting. We don't give a fuck anymore. Nobody cared, right? And they didn't fight because nobody wanted to put up that kind of money anymore. So it's like you're taking credit for trying to like bring back a shit fight. Not a shit fight, but a fight that we don't care about anymore, right? And the only reason why anybody would care about it is because both of them have lost enough that it seems like they might be on the same skill set level or trajectory, right? So if like two washed fighters are fighting, well then okay, it could be a little competitive, right? But for them to have this kind of rollout, oh man, I just think it's detrimental. I think it's detrimental. You're just pissing people off. People are just like, oh man, you know what? Y'all think this fight is so big you can dick us around? Then eat a dick. Then we don't want the fight. How about that? How about we won't pay for it? How about I'm a fire stick that bitch? How about I'm a IPTV all up in that UFC branded BOXING with FURY and damn it, that doesn't work. But you know what I'm trying to say. At the end of the day, I don't care where this fight happens, when it happens. I want to see. I mean, I do care when it happens, but I want to see it. Whether it's August, whether it's December, whether that's next May or March or whatever the fuck. I don't care. I want to see it as long as it happens before 2028, I guess. I mean, that's just an arbitrary date. I'm just saying, like, I want to see it within the next year. And the more time you take not announcing it, like you are making this seem like it's a really big fight. It's a really big fight for you, Turkey. It's a really big fight for you, Dana, because neither of you have the class. Well, maybe Turkey does, but because neither of you have the ability to shit the bed on this one, right? Whether you make the money back is irrelevant. You're trying to establish the idea that Zuffa Boxing is now the place where the biggest fights in the world happen. And yet you aren't talking about the biggest fights in the world. You're talking about Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. That's one of the biggest fights in UK history, sure. How many Americans would even buy that pay-per-view, honestly? Even if it was held at like a reasonable time, like for Americans, right? Even if it was held in Vegas, right? This fight is not the fight it used to be. So dragging this whole process on, right, shows either it's way bigger behind the scenes than it is in front of the camera, meaning that Joshua and Fury are expecting the kind of money and treatment that, Ali and Joe Frazier would have gotten, or Ali and Foreman. But this isn't Ali Foreman. This isn't Ali Foreman at all. We're not talking. Neither one of these guys is like a top 3 heavyweight anymore. Neither one of these guys is considered anything remotely close to what they once were, right? At least not Joshua, and certainly Fury has only had one good performance since he shit the bed against Ngannou. And again, I'm not even trying to like compare like the fight that we once wanted with the fight that we're going to get. It's just like, man, if y'all don't understand this, bro, like y'all aren't like, look, Doomsday is coming out in December, right? And everybody's been like, dude, where's this trailer for Doomsday? We want to see we want to see Robert Downey Jr. talking with his crazy accent. Where is this thing? And it's like every day that goes by that we don't get it, or that like they release something else, all it's doing is hyping the anticipation. People could play mad, but the truth is that they're fucking ready to watch this. They're going to buy tickets. They're going to pre-order. They're pumped to the tits because they're rolling out Doomsday in a way that's frustrating fans to the level of over eagerness. That is not happening with Fury and AJ. Not at all. Not at all. Not even a little bit, specifically in America. But I don't even think the UK gives a fuck about that fight anymore. Again, it's a big fight. People do care, but they don't care the way they once did. And this idea that it's somehow reminiscent of the Mayweather-Pacquiao debacle, right? If it represents that or resembles that, then only in the way that it frustrated people for how long it took to get done, right? Listen, I think that if you could make the argument, or let me put it this way, I am going to make the argument that AJ's the good guy in that fight. Fury's the heel in that fight. I don't care if you hate AJ, and I don't care if you love Fury. The narrative is clear in that fight, and it will get clearer and clearer as time goes on. Not just because he's MAGA, not just because he sucked up to Trump, not just because Daniel Kinahan was one of his most trusted fucking people, but because of it, all of that, right? The Furies represent one thing and one thing only. They are a bunch of super poor people from UK or wherever the fuck he's from. And they'll do anything for money. That's what they represent. I'm not saying AJ is not that guy. I'm saying that's not what AJ represents right now, right? AJ has this story of redemption. Oh my God, he survived this car crash. His best friends died. Like all this, we can have empathy for him, right? It's so easy to have empathy because we could all put ourselves in that position. Like, what would it be like if we were in a car filled with the people we love and everyone in there died in a tragic accident except for me? How do you go on, right? AJ is the face in there. Fury is the heel. And again, not because he's MAGA, not because he fucks with Trump, but none of that helps, right? So fuck it. But anyway, let us talk now about the actual fight itself. How about that? How about we do that? Let's see. So first things first, I do want to talk about let's start at the top. Ilya Topuria. Where the fuck is it? All right. The fuck? All right. So this was just before the stoppage. Okay. After the final round before the fight was stopped. And this is Ilia Topuria getting to his stool and literally almost missing it.
Okay. He just said something to his brother. Watch it. Okay. He just said something to his brother. Watch it. No. We finished the fight. We finished the fight. No, we finished. It's almost like he's trying to not. That's it. And that'll do it. That's it.
So a lot of people have talked about the brother stopping the fight there, and so anyway, this is come out as of a few hours ago. Bloody Elbow is who I'm reading this. Shout out to Kyle Diamond. I don't think it's Diamond. Okay, so in the main event, Ilia Topuria was stopped by Justin Gaethje. In his first loss of his 18-fight professional career. Let's see. El Matador was unable to. While some have criticized Topuria for quitting, it appears that it was his brother who said the fight was over when the champion sat down in his corner at the end of the fourth. So there was one last round, fifth round, and it was scheduled for and so yeah, that it's become a thing. Alexandra Topuria says he is still proud of his brother when reacting. This is like the shittiest. Jesus Christ, dude. I'm sorry, Kyle Diamond from Bloody Elbow, but you're not a great writer, brother. I'm sorry. There's no reason you should be having 5 sentences separated for this article, but whatever. So apparently he said we're going to finish the fight. Then he posted his first reaction to the way the main event played out. Proud of everything you do and have done, my brother. Alexandre wrote on IG. In victory or in learning, always grateful to God for everything. So that was the only thing he said. All right. Well, not much, but I wanted to bring it up because a lot of people were saying that it was a quit job. It was, this, it was that. Guys, I want to show you something here. Let me just stop this for a second so I can find it. I want to show you something real quick. Okay. Let's see. Not that one. Damn, where the fuck is it, dude? Oh, maybe it's this one right here. Oh, yeah, here we go. Okay. Well, I'll show you this one real quick. This was the final part of the fight. And I wanted to show it because it really is so what's the word? Not eloquent. It's just fitting. It's just fitting that this went down the way it did because there was so much blood and bruising on the face of Topuria, but at the end of the day, it was this move right here that may have finished the fight and Topuria off. That soft knee, or that knee softened up that spot. He hears the thing, so he knows he's got one opportunity, and boom! Jesus Christ. Listen to this. Listen to this one more time. Listen to this one more time.
Big knee by Gaethje. Big knee.
Oh my God, dude. Oh my God. That was disgusting sound. That was a disgusting sound if you're taking that shot. Now, if you're giving that shot, it sounds fucking gorgeous. But all right, so this is the 4th round. I'm trying to get y'all like, okay, there we go. That's a decent picture. Can I zoom in on this? What? I can't zoom in on this.
Who hit you the hardest? They said Justin Gaethje almost unanimous. Well, coming in here.
Okay, so look, he got hit right here with the eye. Watch. Watch this uppercut. I think it's enough. No. Yeah, there it is. The uppercut. Now look at him. See, he's grabbing the eye. All right, he's grabbing the eye. Now you see his face here. Okay, and this is not a great job. Let's keep seeing. Maybe we can get to a better shot. Let's see. I just want y'all to get a good look at his face. There we go. All right, not the best, but what you're looking at here are 2 eyes that are severely busted. Severely busted. You're seeing a nose that is clearly broken. It's cracked in the middle. So let me explain what the nose is. I mean, obviously, you all know what the nose is, but let me explain how it works in combat sports for anybody who doesn't know. So the nose is cartilage, okay? And the thing about cartilage is it is what's the word? It is subject to damage in a way that other parts of your body aren't. For example, like if you get your nose busted up, right, and it gets broken, which is the cartilage splitting from the whatever that thing is right here, and you can blow your nose after absorbing a shot that way and literally pop your I forget what it's called, but your eyes swell up, right? And that you're done after that. You can't fight, you can't see. The nose is a very tricky thing to protect as a cornerman, as a fighter, all those things. And while you can fight with a broken nose, it's like saying, hey, you can fight with a cut. Like, yes, you can, but it changes things, right? Fighters, they learn like mind body control type stuff, right? It becomes like rhythmic. And that breathing process is one of the biggest and most difficult things to learn as an amateur starting out, because you're used to breathing a certain way, obviously. And then when you play sports, you're used to breathing a certain way. But when it comes to MMA or boxing, the breathing has to be, I don't want to say technical, but it has to be like specific. Like it has to be rhythmic, right? You have to utilize your lungs and their capacity for air in a way that also supports your ability to perform in the cage. So in other words, you'll hear people go like that, right? Or when people throw big power shots, you hear them go, ha, 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 ha. You know what I mean? Which I don't think is a great idea, because you're basically telling everybody when you're going to throw a power punch. But there is this aspect of the fight where you didn't know who was going to win, but you knew Ilya had already lost. Now, I want to make that clear. Topuria looked really good at times in the fight. He really did. In fact, I think I could make the argument that if we go and take like their best spots, right? Like evenly, like what are Topuria's top 10 spots in the match? What are Justin Gaethje's top 10 spots? I'd be willing to bet that the 10 we see from Topuria will be more skillful, more athletic. They'll hit harder. I think in the first, maybe the first half of the second, what we were seeing in the fight, what the fight script was actually playing out, showing us, was that there were not a whole lot of, okay, so Justin Gaethje was doing the most damage, right? He was having the most success in that time span of the first round to like the first, maybe like 2 minutes or minute of the second. But Topuria was still having the more, not important, having the more meaningful shots land. And the fight script played out in a way where it was really kind of hard to judge. It was like, you give that to Justin Gaethje because he did more, right? There's no doubt about that. Or do you give it to Topuria, who did better? Quality versus quantity. Those body shots that Topuria landed have to be some of the most pristine and skillful shots. Not just in that fight, but maybe in all of UFC top matches or main events. It was not just the skill of the body punches he was throwing. It wasn't just the technique or the means for which he was able to draw power from them, but it was also the fact he was hitting Justin fucking Gaethje with them. You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing to get off some power shots on a guy that's smaller than you and has worse hands than you and can't take a punch, whatever. It's another fucking thing to put Justin Gaethje's body through the ringer the way he did, and to be able to find that opening and to be able to exploit it as often as he did in the first half of that fight. There were a lot of boxing guys I saw watching the MMA fight last night, and they were saying, "Oh, this fight's over." I don't watch MMA, but I can tell you nobody survives body shots like that. And they're usually right. But, Justin Gaethje's a tough one. Shout out to Alex in the building. Said, still buzzing. That knee was vicious. Fuck yeah, dude. Honestly, that knee probably did more damage in that round than anything else. I mean, obviously he's going to have like fucking plastic surgery out the ass, right? Honestly think the divorce took something away from Topuria in this fight. Don't do that, Alex. No, that takes from Gaethje, dude. Only person he had by his side was his brother this week. No kids, no hot wife. Dare I say the things Hockett said broke him? No, I don't think that broke him. I think he lost the fight. I think Gaethje did, because here's the thing. This is why I don't feel like that narrative works. Justin Gaethje did everything we thought he was going to do. Right? The fight played out in a way that we thought, if Justin were to win, this is how it would get done. Right? He won it the way we all thought he would, even though none of us picked him, right? Or at least me. I picked Ilya. I thought he was going to win. I thought it was going to be not an easy fight, but a definitive win. And the truth is that Justin fought the right fight. That's not to say that, like, that's the way they drew it up, but it is to say that he knew he was going to have to be a take two to give one type of guy. And then he ended up evolving from that, right? I just don't want to take anything away from Gaethje. I really don't. I think he deserves it. Is he like a pound for pound great? Like, does he belong on the John Jones and Mighty Mouse and GSP list? No, he doesn't, and he never will. That said, though, I am actually kind of happy that the fight ended up the way it did. Now, I thought Topuria was going to win, and I literally was going for no one. I didn't. I know a lot of people see it as patriotic. I didn't. It felt not patriotic necessarily. It felt like, man, I'm not gonna lie. It felt like Dana White's Ram commercials, where they're just like, "Hey, are you a fucking American? Then you like motorcycles flipping, and you like fucking cool stuff like beer and hot tits. This is MMA USA version." Like, that was the vibe. You know what I mean? And that vibe was not it. It wasn't it at all. But that said, though, I can't say that Topuria lost because of the spectacle or because of where it was, because everybody had the same hindrances, right? I will say this, though. Does the fight script go the way it went if this happens in an air-conditioned venue that is able to eliminate the, yes, pomp and circumstance, and that sucks, but also the variables? Again, I'm not saying Ilya would have won in any other arena in America. I'm not saying that that the outdoor elements affected him more than Gaethje or anybody else on the card. I will say that it's hard not to at least consider the idea, because it's like, this wasn't supposed to happen. Did it happen because Ilia Topuria is not as good as we thought, or because Justin Gaethje is better? Or did it happen because the elements were uncontrollable and unknown, and they may have skewed the fight in one fighter's favor versus the other? I don't know that to be true. I don't know it to not be true. It can be true. You know what I mean? The same way, like, when I play basketball on concrete, my ball handling is so much. I mean, not today. I probably suck today, but back in the day, my ball handling was so much better on concrete than it was on the court. I don't know why. I don't know if that's a thing, but I know that that was the way it was. And so, yeah, I don't know. Here's what I do know. Again, this man, Ilia Topuria, is going to need some plastic surgery, maybe facial reconstruction. Who knows? But he's going to need some time off. The question now becomes, what happens to Ilia Topuria? Can he become this? Can he be the same ever again? Is this fight changed him forever and drastically to the point where we will be able to have actual details and facts to back it up in his next fight? I don't know. All I know is that fighters have been changed for a less of a beating, right? The allure that Topuria had is gone. It's gone, and it never comes back. It's over with. All right. The allure and the legend of Ilia Topuria, gone forever, never to come back. That doesn't mean he can't be a great fighter. In fact, it may help him to become a better fighter. If you think about the idea that he was living up to, or he was trying to live up to, this narrative of being the guy, and he wasn't that guy, right? And so because he wasn't that guy, now he has that off his shoulder. He doesn't have to be that guy every time he goes into the cage. And now he can just be Ilia Topuria, right? A really great fighter. Because it just bothered me how quickly others were willing to give Topuria this John Jones and Mighty Mouse. And like, those guys, not only did they do well and did they defend their titles and win, but they redefined the game in a lot of ways, right? You look at some of the guys that really changed fighting in UFC or MMA specifically, and guys like John Jones, Ben Henderson, Anthony Pettis, GSP. Did I say GSP? No. Mighty Mouse, right? These guys, just like they all had the kind of impact that Royce Gracie had, right? Royce Gracie had that impact because after that, everybody had to learn BJJ, right? After GSP, everybody had to have like a high quality wrestling game if they wanted to even remotely be considered a top 10 pound for pound guy, right? And now today you have a lot of these Russian fighters and Middle East fighters, and certain coming from certain places, Dagestan and things like that, where they have a different mindset and a different way of training and a different way of fighting. And it has shifted the culture of MMA to a degree. I don't know if it shifted it for the better or not. All I know is there are less superstars today than ever before. And the guys that think they're superstars, that the UFC considers superstars, nobody even knows, right? Or at least Terrence Crawford doesn't. I don't know if Topuria is ever going to be the same. In fact, I think I could have an easier time making the debate that he won't. This man looks like Kenny Florian right now in the match, right now in this spot. He looks exactly like Kenny Florian. And he didn't go into this match looking like Kenny Florian. Okay. He went into this ring looking like Ilia, and he came out looking like Kenny Florian. I hope he comes back well. I hope he is able to find that spark still and that drive that made him one of the best of this era. But I'm very happy that we don't have to have this conversation anymore, because GSP and Bones Jones and even Aldo in his time, right? Pre Conor McGregor, Ronda Rousey, all these people shifted not only their divisions and but just not only the division, but their culture of MMA, and specifically that in the UFC. Yeah, so there's a separation between guys like Topuria and the rest of the field. Just know that. Fuck, it's already 7:04. Okay, I only have 6 people on, so I'm going to go ahead and jump off and come right back for YouTube and Twitch. So if you're on X or IG and you are, well, you're not on IG because I literally never hit live, then you are going to have to go to YouTube or Twitch, like literally like right now. We're going to go live. We're going to cover the Raw fight, but we will be back. We didn't get to talk about literally anything. I went on way too late. What if Topuria had decided to fight Patty in January instead of letting this thing stall him? Think it would have been better for it, right? I will tell you that while there are many differences between what happens inside the competition of MMA and boxing, aspects like that are tried and true throughout combat sports, right? So even though MMA and boxing are very different, they're fought different, they're even trained differently. Things like that, things like staying active, right? Things like not jumping up and down and weight all the time. Those things hinder you, right? So 80% mental. Topuria didn't have the same composure, just me reading from it. Yeah, no. And I get that. I think you could certainly read that on him last night. But it's like, we can't know if outside forces did that, or if, and obviously outside forces always have some sort of, legitimacy, but I don't think we could say definitively either way. All I know is another answer could be that Topuria showed up and wasn't ready for Justin Gaethje. Like the size, the division, the fighting at that weight class against him, like all the things that ended up playing out, he just might not have been ready for it. And then also at the same time, he might have started to believe his own hype. He's not Bones Jones. He's not that good. He's not as good as Mighty Mouse, I don't think. And he's certainly not as good as GSP. I never thought he was. I thought he could be. I thought we were seeing a guy on a ride heading towards potentially achieving that Mount Rushmore success. But in the end, I think what we ended up getting was a guy who's a really good fighter, maybe believed his own hype to his detriment. Topuria versus Patty is still a main event fight I'd pay money to watch. Absolutely, 100%. Listen, Patty is a guy who needs names on his resume, right? And if he can get names on his resume that once represented top elite class, it's like so much easier to give him a title shot again. But anyway, all right, guys, we're going to go ahead and jump off of this one. I'm going to come back like within 5 minutes, literally, of YouTube and Twitch on OBS. So, yeah, tap in. We're going to be covering Raw. Obafemi versus Dom Mysterio. Who's going to win? We're going to find out. Tap in. Peace. Infighting FX on all platforms. Peace.